Hey y'all, it is 5 a.m. and I'm adding this piece in, and I look like it's 5 a.m., hence the extra filters, because seriously, it's ridiculous. I'm exhausted. But I realized that I wanted to hit something harder on the sexual jealousy one, that I something I glossed over. And this is a history that we as women, in a weird, creepy way, are sharing. I don't know that that's the exact word that I am looking for, but I have had, and I have spoken to friends who've had this experience of, especially when a white man shows interest in a black or brown girl, like some of the wildest, most extreme reactions have come from white women in my direction when that has happened, and also in the directions of my friends. So it's a definite phenomenon, but it's super complicated. It is it is your it is your depending on how old you are, it is your mother lying in bed listening to her husband's footsteps come from the housekeeper's room, who happens to be black. It is the great greats getting served pancakes in the morning after he and his boys have gone out hunting for black and or indigenous women. It is a sordid and disgusting and horrible history that goes all the way back to slavery and continues today, in particular for indigenous women. Now, the fact that white women make the object of their resentment the women who are victimized in these situations is a problem. But it's also a trauma, definitely generational, passed down from mother to daughter to mother to daughter to mother to daughter. And it is mostly unexamined because this is a piece that we don't talk about. This is the piece that we kind of pretend didn't really exactly happen. It's also one of the ways that we got around this whole idea that, somehow black women are not attractive to in particular to white men. Because in order to talk about that attractiveness, which is just natural attractiveness that any man would feel for a woman who, if he likes women, instead of talking about that attractiveness, if we did, we would start to have to get into all the ways that attractiveness was a one-sided thing, and that attraction, and how that sort of attraction was used to control and subjugate communities. There's a lot to get into. And so the reactions of white women often, I find, when they are wild and seeming to come from nowhere, are quite visceral. I could tell stories. And I've heard, and just about every friend I have can tell you a story about some white woman who has gone off on her in some weird particular way. As I said, I have got to the habit of telling my white male friends, do not compliment me in front of white women. Because I know what kind of starts to happen. Suddenly, behind my back, I become someone that I'm not to my when they're in my face. And this is why for me, like, the perspective is always my approach, my perspective, as much as I can make it so, is always going to be healing and empathy. Because flipping from one side to the other, switching the positions, I do not know how I would behave. I will be honest. If I were facing, if this was the stuff that was being whispered in my ear from my grandmother to my mother to I don't know. And I also recognize that for white women, it's a wound that has gone completely unexamined. It's really easy to just talk about jealousy and be like, oh, jealous bitches and all that other stuff. But why does that particular jealousy exist in that particular way and cause that particularly extreme kind of reaction that many a black and brown girl has been on the other side of? That is some deep stuff. That's some deep history, deep, dirty history to get into. So I wanted to make sure that I really hit that point, because I feel like I sort of hit it, but I kind of glossed over it in the final video. And this is the final video of the series, because I really can't do any more on this. I've said everything I needed to say. I have no solutions, really, especially not on this. I have no solutions. The only thing that I have a really clear sense of is what the problem is and the reason for it. It'll take much, much wiser people than I to come up with solutions that make sense and that people are willing to embrace. Excuse my hair, excuse, whatever else, but I hope you like the lashes. Have a great night.